Good evening. Out quite late this tonight. My third and not last attempt at doing some Ubering. I booked. Someone booked a really early 1 o'clock tomorrow morning for a trip. So just thought I'd go out and do a bit more before then. Maybe have some rest before 1 o'clock. But I wanted to come online and just mention last few days of just having really nice people. I mean, offered chips left, right and centre by lovely people who I in some ways I think just wanted to have a chat as well, which is lovely. I'm really glad of it, to be honest. I'm driving around in the pitch black country roads and everything. I don't know where I'm going. I've just drove down this little road after dropping someone off. I have no idea. I don't know if most drivers are the same. They just drive into the abyss. I have no idea who the hell I am. But yeah, just it was my first time. This nice lady offered me fries. Can't tell you the name of the shop. No idea. But I've just been dropped off in the middle of nowhere by an Uber driver who got angry with her because she wanted to add a stop. I said, I told her that sometimes Uber drivers are just unhappy with someone that they just had in the car, and it might not be you that they're actually having a problem with. And I told her about a story of a lady in the week who was drunk and just wanted to have a go because she didn't want to pay the price that she was offered, and was obviously thinking that Uber wasn't worth it for her. But also I had to change direction because as Uber drivers can tell you, on Thursdays in Birmingham they close the main road back to Sutton, and she wouldn't have it, and so anyway, long story short, she gave me a bad rating, even though I'd given her a bad rating for just being obnoxious. The bad rating came through that I was not polite. I thought that shouldn't happen. If you've got a drunk rider, you shouldn't be allowed to give a rating. Anyway, so I got on my ratings, I got unpolite or impolite, and I can't remember the other one. Got another problem as well. Hang on a minute, I'll tell you. Distracted by phone. I use a phone when I'm driving because I drive with Uber. I gotta use my phone. Anyway, says the man doing a little video blog. Anyway, she offered me some fries. So I had another guy who worked for Volkswagen. I think just picked him up about 10 minutes ago and dropped him off, and offered me some of his chips. It's not good for someone who sits down all day to have all these chips. Yeah, we just talked about electric cars, and I worked out that they don't really need a service, which is interesting. So message to all other electric car drivers: you don't need a service, according to the VW garage. Anyway, I picked up a very interesting chap this afternoon who very nice. He was he stopped off. He had a stopping off journey, and he had to tell me that his friend was going to go and get some weed. Oh dear. So me sitting in the car waiting for the guy to come back with the weed. By the way, I didn't have any. And he went on to tell me that this wasn't his house. This was the probationary location. And he said that it was all a real joke because they don't do anything there. Every week they come and ask him if he's all right, and that's about it. He said. But he went on to said I'm really interested in crime and stories and like that, and he went on to tell me that he'd been in a number of prisons. Some of the big ones is Belmarsh. I thought, oh my God, only the certain people go there. And so I said, have you known anyone in particular down the years in prison? And he said, oh, I knew Charles Bronson. What? And I said that he was an interesting character. I'd read about him, not just the fact that he'd been put in prison because of his violent behaviour, but that even people like him have morals and a code that when they put criminals in who have attacked or injured children, people like Charles Bronson and others just don't stand for that, and they'll attack and injure anyone who's had that kind of criminal record. I thought that was really interesting, and he said that was the case, and what would happen, and he called them screws, the prison guards would tell everyone. But they would bring these people in on a special order, not to disclose their record, but they would go off and tell these people who they are, so that they knew that they would get a kicking, which was interesting. But he was always a very nice guy. He was apologetic. He should never have got into it, and he must have been in his 50s. He said that he used to work in a good job where he managed about 30 other people, but because of his record, he will be no longer able to have that lifestyle. He also mentioned that he'd separated from his wife because of his record. And I said that this system in this country is not meant to help anybody who's at the bottom, whether or not you're a law-abiding person or not. People at the top will always be able to get away with things, but the system doesn't really help those who don't have anything. And as a Muslim, I suppose it's interesting. As a Uber driver as well, I've learned to be more accommodating and not be so judgmental with people who are obviously going through difficulties. Because our guide, our Prophet, peace be on him, was always seen to sit with those who were not well off or had difficulties, and he was always seen with those kind of people. But at the same time, God also says in the Quran that those first into paradise will be those who are poor and who have really suffered and had difficulties in their lives. So it's interesting to hear some of the stories from people who have had nothing and have looked to crime to help them to stand up on their feet. Anyway, more chip stories soon.